live in talkSPORT 2. Carabao Cup quarter-final, Newcastle against Leicester. Eddie Howe against Brendan Rodgers. That one live at the same time at 8 o'clock. Simon, when we go into this, Newcastle, have they become part of the elite overnight because of the Saudi ownership? I mean, well, I think Brendan Rodgers certainly seems to think they have. Why are Newcastle considered elite, but despite winning the Premier League, and Leicester never were? Brendan Rodgers has looked at this quite closely, and he says, look, if you look at our net spend since I've been here and compare that to our competitors like Villa, West Ham and Newcastle, it's a big difference. I think I'm a decent coach, says Brendan, but I'm not a magician. Now, this is what he means. Since Brendan's first transfer window as manager in summer 2019, Leicester's net spend on transfers is near 18.5 million. During the same period, Newcastle's 300 million.
Oh, shut up. They've got to come from a further back position, haven't they? Leicester won the Premier League 5-6 years ago, and whilst they've traded players in and out, they've been able to get significant transfer fees that they can redeploy. So the net spend argument that he has there, when was the last time Newcastle sold a player for 80 million quid? They didn't. So Leicester have spent £80 million they got on Maguire. They've spent quite a significant amount of money on redistributing it back in to supplement the club. I like Brendan, but I get tired of this BS where he's looking for an excuse to get it in front early just in case his team doesn't turn up in the next game.
Well, wait a minute. No, he's got a point.
He hasn't.
Leicester's net spend at that time is 18.5 million. Villa and West Ham have net spends of 250 and 270 million respectively.
And again, I give you, Villa is one argument that you can put in there because of the Jack Grealish £100 million transfer, right? So I get that with Villa, but what's that got to do with the price of cheese? We're talking about Newcastle.
They're trying to like Newcastle, Villa and West Ham are trying to break in amongst the elite, and they're spending big to try and do it.
I didn't hear...
Leicester not doing that.
I didn't hear Brendan Rodgers say, listen, I can't come to join you at Leicester because I'm not a magician, right? I'm going to stay up in Scotland. I didn't hear that when he was running like a quicker than a quick thing from Quickland out of Scotland to get into the Premier League.
That's dropped you in trouble before
that was deader than a dead thing from Deadland, but this is quicker than a quick thing. But listen, first of all, the answer to the question is no. What elite? Elite isn't just about how much money you've got. Elite is what you actually do with that money and how much you win with it.
Well, is he right, though, that unless you spend money, which is quoted, you can't join the elite, the elite of the top six?
Well, yes, to some extent, he is right, because ultimately... yes, okay.
So what was the flakiness for?
At this moment in time, Newcastle are not amongst the elite. They've had to come from a further back position than Leicester have come from. So they've come back from a position of what people would suggest was significant underinvestment.
So why is he including Newcastle in it? Why is Brendan including Newcastle in it?
Because it makes a good story as to the reasons why Newcastle will succeed and Leicester won't. And then that gives Brendan Rodgers a pass for his lack of achievements at Leicester in recent times. Now, I don't know. Look, the bottom line is that the original question was, have Newcastle become elite overnight? The answer is no, they have not. What Newcastle have become is having a lot of money. And that's like saying, everyone knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. So we'll see what Newcastle become in the future. But right now, Leicester are the club that's been more successful in recent times until Brendan is starting to turn it on its ear. And he might have some validity behind his point of view about how it's difficult. Don't like it, Brendan, leave Leicester then. Or shut up and get on with it and be a really good coach, develop players, have a better influence with your owners, get them to spend some more money and redirect the focus on achieving things rather than reasons why you don't.
But these two have kind of changed position. They've swapped positions, haven't they, Leicester and Newcastle?
In what way?
Well, Newcastle going up.
Well, currently,
in their
Swallows and Summers.
Let's join the top six.
Don't start banking checks that you haven't yet got, right? Because
I bet you a grand.
It's not guaranteed that Newcastle are going to do what you think they're going to do.
You said they would do.
I said I wouldn't double down on it. I said I wouldn't double or quit, because on the balance of probability, looking at how the other teams are stinking the place out, I never expected Chelsea to be 10th. Did you? No, you did not. Did you expect Liverpool?
Which is a charity bet.
Did you expect Liverpool to be as underachieving as they've currently been this season? So you put those two back in the mix, and Newcastle wouldn't be inside the top six. But they are where they are, so they're doing well out of the FA Cup on Saturday. Let's see how they get on in the EFL Cup. If they get chucked out there, which I suspect they probably won't, but if they do, right, then they'll be in the league, and we'll see if you get to bank that £1,000 because we're only halfway through the season, but they will. The question is, will they land there? Well, I can't see why they won't, because that's how Man City have landed there. The Man City didn't land there because they were wonderful after coming out of League One.
But that's
they landed
where Leicester
there
once
because
were,
they were.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And so, well, Leicester didn't have that kind of wealth, did they? They didn't, Leicester didn't have the wealth that Man City had to correct their team, and they didn't have the wealth that Newcastle have got.
They have changed position. They won the title, then they challenged the top four for about 3 seasons.
Yes,
after
but
that.
not on the financial front. They didn't. The argument he's making is the reasons why Newcastle are going to be a better club because they've got more money. Your argument then is that Leicester, they've changed positions. Well, they haven't, because Leicester did it economically. Leicester did it by homegrown talent, good recruitment, bringing in players that they resold on. They sold all of their best players in the 2016 winning side that won the Premier League. 2016 was it, or 2015? Whatever it was. It was a standout achievement.
Who wins tonight? Newcastle or Leicester?
Newcastle.
Okay, there we go. That's all we wanted to get towards the end.
But you wanted to know if Newcastle were elite.
Sport. Yeah. You got there in the end. I must admit, it's a bit like the replays
I'm getting
argument
paid by the word.
Well done, Mr. Simon Jordan. I thank you very much indeed.